In our last episode, we looked at after-death communication. Tonight, I will do my best to answer listener questions prompted by that episode. Welcome to the Peep Podcast. I'm your host, Nicolle, and on this episode, we're doing an Ask Me Anything show with questions spurred from episode 61's topic of after-death communication. But first, I would like to re-extend the invitation to you to message me through the form at peeppodcast.com if you have personal stories of paranormal or psi phenomena you'd like to share. That includes ghosts, UFOs, precognition, near-death experiences, cryptids, and anything else considered outside of or alongside of the normal. You can be as anonymous as you'd like if that would make you more comfortable talking about them. A big goal for this podcast is to let people know that the paranormal is more normal than most people think. And when you share experiences, it helps others to become more comfortable talking about theirs. So please reach out through the form if you'd like to share. Okay, here's our first listener question. When you see a spirit of someone, do they look how you last saw them? Or are they younger, healthy, or them at a different time and age? I can only speak from my personal experience when I answer, but if you read as many true paranormal stories as I have, you get the idea that there's no hard set rule. In the after-death communication dreams that I've had, they were healthy and maybe a little younger than the last time I saw them. For example, my friend who passed tragically that I told the story about in my last episode looked a little younger than mid-50s, which was his age when he died. I don't recall wrinkles, but I'd known him since he was in his 20s, and he wasn't as young as that. When my grandfather visits, he's much healthier, but again, not youthful. Most of my memories of him were from his middle age to senior years. So it makes sense that's how I'd see him in my dreams. My aunt who passed in her mid-30s looks just as I remember her from that age. All that said, I've read stories of people seeing the spirit of their loved ones at ages they didn't recognize, maybe as a child, for example, and only through looking at old family photos was the person identified. But my guess is that unless the spirit delivered a message, it might be more likely that the witness was viewing a residual haunting, a memory impressed on the atmosphere of a location rather than an intelligent spirit. However, it's impossible to know for sure and never a good idea to paint paranormal events with a broad brush. Question 2. How long do spirits tend to attempt to contact their loved ones? This is another one that I don't think there's really a rule for. If the spirit manages to communicate clearly and be recognized by the witness the first time, it's possible they'll never be seen again. They're satisfied and moving on. But it's also possible the loved one has decided to act as a guide from the spiritual plane and will continue to communicate for years to come. I've heard of both, and it seems to depend on the situation. There are many mediums that believe that we have a group of souls that we go through life with under a predetermined agreement that will be there for each other during life and after death. And I think that's a lovely thought. If you look into the topic of life between lives, you'll see this theme come up over and over again, so there might be something to it. Question 3. Is Halloween the best time to attempt to contact someone? Or does it not really matter when you do it? Supposedly, according to age-old folklore, the veil between worlds is thinner on Halloween, All Souls' Day, and All Saints' Day. but I am not sure how much I buy into that. I've been a paranormal investigator since 2009 and an experiencer my whole life, and I've had paranormal experiences year-round and captured EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, in every season. So, as far as I'm concerned, if a spirit wants to communicate with you, they will do it when they want to. Halloween is fun, and that's when most people are more actively thinking about the dead. But if there's a message that needs to come across, I don't think they're looking at the calendar, drumming their fingers on the ethereal mist, waiting for October 31st. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for the questions, and thanks for listening. Once again, if you're interested in sharing your paranormal stories with us, or if you have an idea for an episode topic, please reach out through the contact form at peeppodcast.com. That's PEEP podcast.com. Remember, that stands for People Experiencing Everyday Paranormal. While you're there, sign up for my newsletter to keep up with the podcast and all my creative and energetic endeavors. I only email it once or twice a month max. You'll receive briefs on recent episodes, information on any upcoming appearances, news, and more. If you enjoy the podcast, please give it some rating love on your favorite podcast app. Share it with friends and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Doing so will help the podcast be found by others. A huge thank you to everyone who has given the show some love. I truly appreciate it. No matter how you support the show, listening, telling others about it, financial support through the donate button on the website, or any other way, I absolutely appreciate your being here. Thanks again for listening. Stay safe and be well.